am so sorry that is the version of us that you get coming into the room because you miss everything when those countdowns are going. But anyway.
We're so cracked.
You only know half the story.
But at any rate, welcome back. Happy Monday. It is a very, very happy Monday because we are back to talk about the Traitors, which I freaking cannot wait to get into. So let's just do it. Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
We're in a wild mood tonight. I don't know what I'm getting, but I am Gina Morgino. I'm of course joined by my two faithful friends, Kyle Petty Basal, of course, and John Dumpy Wiger. And yeah, we are. Whoop, my headphones flew out of my ears.
We're off to a fantastic
sorry.
start.
Okay, we're back.
Monday,
We're back. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Also, it's Mon Monday, by the way.
Anyway, we of course are Strat Chat, and we are very, very, very excited to be back with you on this Monday to talk about the new season of The Traitors. And as Kyle said backstage, we are just so happy to be talking about not the challenge.
Yeah, it's not the challenge.
God. Yeah, no disrespect to John. I know that's the show you run, but my God, if I had to talk about one more Tory deal or I'm so sick of it.
Oh man.
Welcome to a new conversation.
It's just so nice to talk about something new.
Don't be sorry. I might run that show for us, but I also am like very aware that this is like the first stream we're doing where we're not talking about that show since like July. So
oh, God. I'm so fatigued. But I mean, before we even get into the Traitors, we have to first thank the reality TV gods for giving us more Alan Cumming on our TV screens in the near future. I love this man. I love his wardrobe. I love his campiness. I love how he shits on people while they're doing competitions. I have missed him so much.
He's fantastic.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Alan really is fantastic. And just like, I know we were just saying we're so happy to not be talking about the challenge, but just the Traitors in general. Like, I'm glad it's this show right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something so, I know it's a newer show, right? We talk about Survivor, we talk about the challenge, the Big Brother. These shows have all been on for decades, right? Now we're at the Traitors. It's only their third season. But what makes me like so excited about this show is that you have all these reality TV stars on this that have been there before, have experience, but they all genuinely seem excited to even be on this show. Because I feel like it is just a really good show. And I feel like the excitement of the players, Alan Cumming being involved, just the whole setting in Scotland, like this show, I'm just so excited to be talking about this show with you guys now. So
it's also just so much fun because like, you could tell the people that really understand the assignment because like you get those little like confessionals or those one-on-ones or whatever where everybody's talking to Alan and he's asking them like, would you prefer to be a faithful or would you prefer to be a traitor? And you can tell who like is really leaning into the campy drama of it all. Like the one that made me actually laugh out loud was when Britney was like, if you're a faithful, you're a sitting duck. And I don't want to be the duck. I want to shoot the duck. I was like, yeah! It's like she came here for the camp.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just put Britney on more reality TV shows. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Can we just all make sure they film in a 2-week period so she's available? I understand she has family. I know that's why she doesn't do things, but she clearly wants to be in things. She just did reindeer games. Now she did this. We just need a shorter window.
Mm-hmm.
Just another plea, another reason to bring back Big Brother over the top. Not to be waylaid by the Britney love. I want to show love on somebody that I did not think that I was expecting to enjoy. But I want to give my 3 cheers to Dylan. Okay, Dylan.
Wow.
This guy, I just love how he has just hopped right in. He goes, there is no traitor that is safe as long as I'm in this game. I'm like, yes, daddy. Go get him.
He
Go get
immediately
them
was like, I'm
traitors.
thinking like a gamer. Like he
Yes,
put his
I
game
love
glasses
it.
on the second he walked in.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's giving me what was it, Pete from last season
Yes.
from The
Yes.
Bachelorette?
Ooh, yeah.
I had
Okay.
the same thought.
Somebody who's tuned in and like ready to actually play. And when I saw this cast list come out, I was like, Dylan Efron.
Because there's all
And I was like, I'm singing a whole tune now.
here.
Yeah.
I'm so
excited that Dylan.
Yeah, no, I love that you brought Dylan up first because I feel the exact same way. Like I never would have expected Dylan Efron, Zach's brother. Like I
somebody
honestly,
I'm jazzed about.
Yeah, I just assumed he was gonna be some like douche that
some
I did not.
idiot.
Yeah, and he
another Samus Gary.
Yeah,
I expected him to just be like the random like pull of like, oh, people are gonna watch this because he's on it. Like just like not knowing what he's signing up for. Like I didn't think he was gonna be piled in at all.
No, he's here to play.
Like so to like
Daddy Dylan.
Daddy Dylan. But so to see Dylan, right? And like he's to me anyway, one of the most likable people in the cast. And like I know that like there's a lot of gamers in there that are trying to throw him off, but he is smart and he's picking up on things and he might have to work on some of his round table, debating skills, but like he can play. And it's just funny to me because another show that we really like, Claim to Fame, I almost would have expected Dylan to be on that show. Maybe he looks a little too much like Zach to be on that show.
I feel like in the first season they had Simone Biles' twin sister on there.
Yeah.
So like, I don't think they really were.
I be honest with you, I wouldn't have thought Zac Efron though if I just looked at him. Like maybe there were some other clues maybe to go with it, but I don't think that would have been like an easy.
Yeah. It's just fun.
Early find out.
It's fun to see him on this show here, like because I would have thought that like
I'm a little bummed. I'm a little bummed. I'm hoping that we definitely get a lot of him in the Traitors to feel satisfied, but I think that the Claim to Fame environment, now that you mentioned that, would have been a very exciting venue to see him in also, because this is somebody who understands the workings of a proper game. I'm not here to be entertaining. I'm not here because I want to play something else. No, I came here to play the Traitors, and like just that energy is exciting to me.
Ugh.
Was he too well known to be on Claim to Fame though? Like, was he already on?
I don't know. I mean,
I had never seen this.
Apparently he has a credit. What did that say? Like down south or something like that? There was something.
It wasn't down south.
So that's the thing. So that's what it is. So that's the only reason, because I thought of him for like Claim to Fame, but then I realized that because I printed out the cast list. And it has each show that they've appeared on. And for Dylan Efron, it lists a show called Down to Earth with Zac Efron.
Oh, okay.
Down south.
Down south with Zac Efron.
Oh my god.
Down to Earth. So I want to know what that is.
Yeah.
Oh, Down to Earth with Zac Efron.
Right.
All right, so I guess he's just not noticeable to us. We just don't know him.
It's like,
so I guess he couldn't be on Claim to Fame.
Oh,
right. It's like a documentary type thing or something. So it's like people.
All right, we just
someone
don't know
would have
him.
known.
Sorry, Zach. So disrespectful. Love you too, boo.
No, I've heard of that.
I
didn't know that was what it was called.
I didn't know what that was either. I'm like, Down to Earth. I'm like, is that a new reality show I should check out? It's probably on Bravo.
Yeah. Probably on Bravo. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to think where we go. Well, okay. Before we started, Kyle had a hot take that John and I weren't really.
Oh, yes.
So let's get into this right off the bat. Kyle, if you will.
My hot take is that I don't like Carolyn as a traitor. I was super jazzed in the very, very beginning, but I'm not liking like what's going on. I don't think, I don't like her constantly playing this victim card. That is what it was on Survivor, where people weren't listening to you. I think people were listening, and you were upset that your vote just didn't happen. Like, because she keeps saying, no more housewives, no more housewives. Let's go for Britney, which was a move that didn't seem to make any sense to me. So I know like now we're jumping way forward, but this is the catalyst for my distaste for Carolyn so far, because it didn't seem to make any sense. It's like, why are you going after Britney? And if you're sitting here and you're complaining that you feel like no one's listening to you, but you're also now being deaf to the reasons why Danielle doesn't want her to be the next kill. That doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for me. If you want to be a team player, then be a team player and understand why Danielle maybe would not want that. And especially coming from an environment where you are very insulated with Survivor players that makes you feel confident enough to start acting and moving forward with your own game. Please understand that she's not going to have that confidence because you only left her with Derrick, who just came in second. There was no other Big Brother players in here. So it's not that Britney doesn't have to go, because she has to go in order for you to win, but please understand that your timing was off. So this is not you not being heard because you're some victim that no one listens to. It's just that this wasn't the right time.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. That definitely.
And I think I'm also overprotective of Britney and Danielle. So anyone making a move against any of these two ladies is going to catch my ire.
Oh, sure.
and Carolyn happened to be the first, so she's getting flamed.
I don't disagree with you on that, but I do think, and like I said, okay, Carolyn's definitely all over the place. I think she's smarter than people give her credit for, but I do think that she is for sure all over the place and is constantly ping-ponging from thought to thought. And this is part of the reason why I love Carolyn, is that she is just so unapologetically herself, and she is not going to be shy about the fact that like whatever's going on in her head is constantly evolving. And I feel like, okay, I agree with you. The idea to
and I'll also go on record here, though. Wait, hold on. I completely support her voicing her opinion and her feeling how she wants to feel. Like, I do appreciate that about her. This is not me disliking Carolyn. It's me disliking her as a traitor. I just want that to be clear, because I actually do really, really like Carolyn.
Right. Well,
that's all.
But here's the thing.
Before this gets too muddled.
No, well,
so but like that's out there, because I do love her.
Right. But I just want to say, because I feel like if the Britney throwout was the biggest catalyst for you thinking she's not a good traitor, right? Because I feel like I get why that's not the smartest move, because Danielle is also a traitor, and if you throw out Britney, that's going to put a target on Danielle, which I get. But I feel like Carolyn was throwing that out because it's like, Britney, who's going to look at us for Britney? Like, Carolyn's thinking about her game, you know what I mean? Which, like, I get. Now we have to talk because Danielle is going to bring up the point of like, no, that's bad for me. But at the same time, other than Boston Rob, because he was put into the game late, Carolyn's the only original traitor whose name hasn't been thrown out. Every time that somebody brings up Carolyn, they call her a bag of nuts. They say she's crazy. They say she's confused.
She can't possibly be a traitor.
She has no idea what's going on. Bob the drag queen was thrown out at the round table. A bunch of heat thrown on him. Danielle has been thrown out as somebody that's seems to be crying and it's not convincing. She's lying about things. Boston Rob has said she's not doing a good job. She's going to be a liability. Like, it's just funny to me that like we're talking about three traitors, and if we're going to talk about the worst one, I don't know if that can be Carolyn if no one is saying her name yet and other people are in the firing line.
Hold on, wait. But I preface this whole thing with, this is why I don't like her as a viewer. That doesn't mean she's ineffective. Like, there's a difference there too. So I want to make sure I separate the two. I compartmentalize a lot of different things. So like, she's being effective as a traitor. I am not enjoying her because she's coming after my girls and she's playing the victim card. It's working for her. To Matt's point, no one's even looking at her. It's whatever she's doing is working for her. Don't disagree. I don't disagree with anything else you said there. I am just not enjoying her.
Yeah. Well,
that's fair. I was sorry.
Yeah. No, the only other thing I was going to say is that even though Carolyn seems to be taking these shots at Danielle and Britney, Danielle doesn't seem to be very upset about it. Like,
no, I think I'm more upset than Danielle is.
We moved on from that moment, and I feel like that's why I think Carolyn's actually doing a great job as a traitor. And I loved her on Survivor so much. So like, even though I still love Danielle and Britney, and I don't really want anyone to come for Britney yet, like, I can't be mad at Carolyn for what she's doing.
I mean, I almost kind of think that Carolyn is kind of like the voice of reason of the three of them, oddly enough. And I know that's a crazy thing to say because she's all fucking over the place. But like, I feel like Bob
Tell me more about that.
I feel like Bob is kind of erratic, and he's just like making moves based on what's going to be the most chaotic thing. And he's not
Bob
really
will get himself in trouble. You're right.
He's not thinking strategically. He's thinking like, what's going to be the best TV moment and what's going to make people go all over the place.
He's not long for this world. No,
which is upsetting because I was so excited to see him chosen as traitor.
Oh yeah, I love Bob. Bob.
Yeah. I also think Danielle might get herself into a little bit of trouble too, because she's I think she got a little overly confident a little quickly, and she's
Yes.
been very vocal in these breakfasts and at these
Very
these
talkative.
this is what I think is
Yeah,
gonna happen, and
breakfast
she's
is the biggest problem, I think.
she's
Breakfast is a
drawing a
disaster
lot
for
of
Danielle.
attention to
Yeah.
herself, and I don't
Uh-huh,
think that
uh-huh.
either
I
of
don't
the two of
disagree.
them I don't think either of the two of them are really thinking long term. They're just kind of like, "Oh, well, I'm safe. I'm a traitor. This will be so much fun." And Carolyn's like, "Well, hold on a second. How do we keep ourselves under the radar, though?" You know?
Yes, I just don't know that Britney was necessarily the best way to keep everything under the radar.
No,
Like, I
sure. Brittany
still
might not have been a great choice in that
Not
moment, but
not for the whole group, but I think for Carolyn,
No.
which is where I think she was thinking, which is not necessarily the right thing. But I feel like
Right, and
that's
that's the thing, I
for
don't think
her,
I
yeah.
think there's a right time to be thinking that way. I just again, I go back to her timing. She's 100% right that Britney's gotta go, and I think it would be very, very good because for better or worse, Carolyn is feeling like she's on this island by herself. If the further she can isolate Danielle, further maybe cements that she'll be on her side. Carolyn's she's thinking right, but you just got to just slow it down a little bit. You got to take a look at yourself a little bit objectively and see that you're a little bit. You have to understand that Danielle could see you as more insulated than her. So until your side wills down a bit, you can't go for the one person that might make her feel comfortable, even if they had that beef from reindeer games. So she just needs to just slow down. But the thought process, I don't think is wrong.
Yeah.
I just don't like that person involved is Britney. I wish it was
I know.
anyone else.
I hear you. I got you.
I love, I just love her.
Frank wrote a comment here. It says Carolyn outwardly showing all the stages of her deciding whether to shake Rob hand, and maybe it's well, that must be Alan's hand, right?
Shake,
To get
Rob's
Rob
hand to
in the
bring him
game.
into the game. Yeah.
But she had to shake Alan's
Shake
hand
Alan's hand
to
to bring
do it.
Rob into
But
the game.
yeah,
Oh,
to bring
Same
Rob
thing.
in.
Yeah.
It's the moment that the entire cast concluded she can't be a traitor because she can't mask her moves. Like that's true. It's Carolyn puts out this whole thing that like she wears everything that she's thinking and feeling on her sleeve, but like we've seen in Survivor and now here that like she can be much more sneaky than people think.
It
For
also
sure.
makes me laugh so hard that everybody is falling for that again, because most, if not all, of the people in that house saw her come in and they were like, "Oh my god, I saw your season," blah blah blah. So it's like,
Right.
the game
Right.
she plays,
Estimating her.
she makes herself seem crazy so that you don't think anything of her, and it's
Mhm.
masking everybody again. Like, I don't know how they're
Right.
not putting two and two together on
Right.
her.
Because that young lady that we don't know and Bob Harper, when they were in the was it the library? I don't know what room it is. It has a bar in it. That's what I take notice of. They couldn't leave that conversation faster when Jeremy had come in. He's like, "Oh, I want to talk to you." And they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to," and like Miss Lady Ma'am was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go
Miss
talk to
Lady.
this person or this person." She just basically named anyone she could think of to just excuse herself. And then Bob Harper was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get a tea." And it's like, you guys can't wait to get away from her. And like, I can't wait for Carolyn to be the reason why that you guys get murdered.
I literally have no idea which woman you're even talking about. The woman we don't know, Miss Lady Ma'am. I don't know which one
Miss
you're
Lady
talking.
Ma'am, I don't know her. She has black hair. She's been a little chatty in some of the round tables. She must be a housewife because I know everyone else.
Or it could be the Nikki, the former WWE.
Oh, that's for sure who he's thinking of.
Nikki.
The female wrestler.
Nikki.
She's been pretty vocal at times.
I
But
think that's who you're thinking of.
and she has become like kind of friendly with some of the housewives.
Let's see.
Nikki Garcia.
Nikki Garcia.
Nikki.
That's who I'm talking about, her. Yeah, her.
She's the former WWE wrestler. Yeah.
I think that's
Miss Lady Ma'am herself.
This Lady Ma'am. Yeah, because these people, like there's a lot of weird, like strange choices, I feel.
But I love the mix, though. It seems to be a good mix of people. Like the chemistry between them all.
No, it's
works.
a good mix. It's a good. It's a good mix. It's just odd. Like these are not people I'm ever going to remember, and I'll never know who they are after the fact either. Like I couldn't tell you who any of the housewives were in the last season.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Bravo girlies do
Not
kind of fall by the wayside a little bit.
That's what I need. Like I know. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I just they don't create an imprint on my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, so while we're on the subject of the traitor selection, I know we kind of glazed over Danielle and Bob a little bit, but would we like to dive a little deeper?
Danielle and Bob. Well, Danielle, I'm sorry. It also was not Nikki from the WWE. I felt that picture was incorrect, and I had to go check. It's Gabby. Gabby from The Bachelorette.
Gabby, who's very blonde and not have the dark hair at all.
She does not have black hair. Gabby does not have black hair.
She has dark roots.
She has
dark roots. She has dark roots.
Gosh.
You're like black hair. You're like Miss Lady Ma'am with black hair, and you found like the blondest person in the cast.
Definitely not the blondest. Thank you very much. There are most certainly people who are blonde, like Britney. Thank you. But anywho, I don't remember what you were saying right before this now.
Bob
I'm just
and Danielle.
So thrown by the Gabby thing.
You're going to say something about Danielle?
Oh, yeah, Danielle. As much as I love her, I think she's overconfident, and I think that's going to be her downfall. I don't know when that will be, unless she pulls back, which is also possible. She could self-correct, and I do trust that if she does that soon enough, she could turn around. She is still Danielle Reyes, but if she doesn't clock that soon enough for herself, which I fear she may not, because this is a quick game. I think she's going to have a problem. Bob, I think we already touched on. Not long for this world.
Like, Bob is fun TV. Like, his roundtables are fun. He gets in like people's faces or whatever, but it's like, that's not who you want to be if you're trying to fly under the radar and have people not look at you. He's being too boisterous. He's being too loud. He's being too accusatory.
Right.
And he needs to like even like right from the get. Like in that first competition or whatever with the barges, he was like standing on the thing being like, the men have to volunteer and blah, 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 blah. And he was like yelling at people and getting at people. And like, yeah, sure. I would have liked to have seen more men volunteer. So it's not all the women sitting out. But like, as a traitor, you can't be the one leading the charge of every major conversation.
Yeah. I feel like when it comes to Bob, like it's the kind of thing where it's like, you're doing a good job in the moment right now. Like people... Well, maybe not such a good job, actually, because there are a lot of people that don't see Bob as a traitor. But as we said earlier, Bob's name has also come up as a target. So I feel like there are some good things that Bob has done, but like it's not a sustainable way to play the game. Like you need to have a mixture of sort of like speaking up and also being in the background a little bit. And Bob is just way too much at the forefront of everything, whether it's a round table or a mission or just having breakfast or having dinner. It's like Bob is always the center of everything. And it's just not a sustainable way to get through the game when there's this many people involved. Like, I feel like...
And he did it too, like in the turret at one point. He was like, I think I am the one who's like leading most of these conversations. I'm kind of the center of these round tables. And it's like, yeah, you shouldn't want to be, though. Like, that's not where you want to be.
Right.
It looked like Kyle was going to say something and he didn't.
No, I kind of got wrapped up in the comments and I missed pieces of that. And I hate that you brought that to everyone's attention.
No, it just looked like you were about to start talking and then you didn't. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I was busy in the comments.
That's okay. That's okay. Comments are fun. What did make me laugh though was watching, like, if we go back to that barge mission or whatever, watching Bob and Danielle sitting on the same one trying to out faithful each other when both of them were traitors. I was like, this is crazy.
Oh, that's where the majority of the conversation was, on Bob. Yeah, Bob is doing I agree that he's doing too much. And it started with that whole barge thing. It was also the same thing that Dorinda kind of fell into, if we be honest too, because that was that one housewife.
The lady of the manor.
Yes. Unfortunate, because it's funny because we were talking at work about this one. There's a joke that goes on at the bank about, oh, I want to make it nice. I want to make it nice. And I'm like, I don't know where this comes from, but I find it very funny. And somebody finally sent me a clip and it was of her, but I didn't know it was her. So then when she got, what was it? Was she murdered? She was murdered.
She was the first murder, yeah.
Yes.
Yes. When she went out and she goes, I tried to make it nice. And I was like, I was like, no way. I'm like,
You're
that
that
was
girl.
her. That was her. I liked you. But I thought that was the kind of the same thing she fell into. And I think she would have been banished if not murdered, just because of like her behavior there.
Yeah.
Yeah. R.I.P. Dorinda.
Yeah, the housewives are catching strays left, right, and center. Again, I feel like we just did this last season where like the housewives were like the main kind of piece of like, well, we gotta split up the housewives. And I feel like we're doing it again.
I kind of understand it though. Like they're just the largest group.
Yeah, I actually was curious about that because I have like the cast list, like I said. So let's see, housewives going into the game. Does this list include Wes and Boston Rob
and Derrick? Probably not, because like I didn't know they were coming in.
But I feel like I saw Boston Rob, and that's why I was confused that I didn't know about Derrick.
It includes Boston Rob. Yeah, he was in the first episode, so it makes sense he's included. But on the list that I have, Wes and Derrick are not included.
Right, I never knew them. Like that was really very surprising and very exciting.
Oh yes.
Oh yes. Like,
so for Survivor, we've got
behave.
I didn't say anything.
I see 4 Survivor players: Boston Rob, Tony, Jeremy, and Carolyn. Housewives: Dorinda, Chanel. Well, that's Ian. Chanel Ian. Dolores, Robin. So that's 4 and 4 right there already for Survivor and Housewives.
There's only 4 housewives, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's it. It's just Robin, Dolores, Ian, and Dorinda. That's it. Big Brother has Britney, Danielle, Derrick. They have 3. So yeah, I mean it's Survivor and
Down South 1.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's pretty much Survivor has 4, Housewives have 4, Big Brother has 3, The Challenge has 1. Everybody else pretty much has 1, right? Because Wes is the only challenge person this season.
Okay. All right.
Biggest Loser, Summer House.
For some reason, I thought there were 6 housewives. But okay.
Well, I think that's because like Nikki, the WWE wrestler, like has become so friendly with them that like she kind of gets lumped into that. Yeah.
And I'm lumping Gabby in as well.
And I wonder even like Ciara Miller from Summer House.
Yeah, I don't know what she's. Oh, Summer House.
Yeah,
I don't even know what that show is.
Is that like a Selling Sunset kind of thing too? I kind of assumed it was one of those like real.
Oh right, because
reality guys watch that mess.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's like we have a bunch of housewives, and then there's other like there's been other women that are on other shows like Selling Sunset and Summer House, and like they've kind of gravitated towards each other. So I feel like it seems like the housewives group is bigger than it is.
And that's just NBC Universal silliness. Get out of here with these things. We don't even know what this stuff is. You think that that's going to make us watch? It's not. I'm not watching Down South.
Down South is not a thing, Kyle. My goodness.
I know, but it's going to be a thing when I'm done. It's going to be a thing when I'm done.
Oh my god. Can we talk about the whole Derrick, Wes, and Boston Rob of it all?
Yeah, this is your show. Where would you like us to go, dear?
Well, so I mean, I do think it's fun. I do like it. The one thing about it that I think is kind of weird is like you introduce Boston Rob, give them the opportunity to either bring him into the game or not. They choose not to, only for like halfway through the episode later, they're like, nah, he's gonna come in anyway now as traitor. And it's like, all right, well, why did we play this whole game then?
So here's my thing. So I want to just say, so because Alan did say in this moment, whatever decision you make will have consequences. So my thinking is, if they had invited Boston Rob into the game right then, that would have been the only addition. Once they said no to Boston Rob, it was okay. Well, now we're going to bring 3 players in, including Boston Rob. And I'm like, so I'm wondering if they had said yes to Alan right there. Yeah, bring Boston Rob in. Wes and Derrick never would have been introduced into the game.
Wow,
That's
interesting.
because why would Alan say like every decision has consequences? You know, it's like, all right, you made the decision not to bring Rob in, so now not only are you going to get Rob, but you're going to get Derrick and Wes. But if you had just brought Rob in, that would have been it. That was the way that I thought of it. Yeah.
Sure. All right. I forgot that Alan had even said that. So, okay.
I know a lot of people are kind of salty too about the fact that all 3 of them were brought in with safety right off the bat and the ability to give away a shield. Like
I don't
a
have
lot of people are
completely
very
fair.
upset about
Yeah.
that.
No, I totally agree with John. I am more than fine with that.
No
Like,
problem
you're
with
coming
that.
into a game behind because you came in late. Of course you get safety. Like, anytime we've seen anyone enter any game late, like Big Brother Australia, like no matter what it is, you always get
thank
immunity.
you. Oh, yes, Kyle. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god. All right.
No, you come in and you're safe. You get one cycle to get your bearings.
Exactly.
And then, sorry, you're off to the races.
I had the exact same
totally
thought.
Fair.
Because we've watched these other shows, and I feel like, right, how often do we talk about how Australia does our own shows better than we do, right? And all these other countries, Canada even, does Big Brother better than we do sometimes. And it's like, and I feel like it's because our shows are afraid to stray too far from how we started. And it's like, all right, when we watched our first season of Big Brother Australia, they were inviting like intruders into the house that got safety because it's like a different stage of the game. And like, this is exciting to me. It's like the game started and you're bringing in 3 heavy hitters now who can like give people safety, who are safe themselves for at least one cycle. And the only thing for me, honestly, with the 3 people that were introduced, and maybe this is like a stupid thing to even focus on, but like we knew it was going to be Rob, right, for Survivor. It seems like they went the challenge, Big Brother, Survivor. They wanted to get a big player from each of those games, right? I get Boston Rob. You already introduced him. Wes is fun to me. But like the fact that all 3 of them were like these, I'm sorry. I hate to even bring it up, but like the fact that all 3 of them were straight white men. It's like, why not instead of like Derrick, why not fucking Tiffany Mitchell? Why not Taylor Hale? Like, can we get some? Because it was a comment in the next on too that it seems like women are being targeted. Right, first is Dorinda, then it's Ian, and it's like, all right, let's get another woman in here. Like, why are we bringing in Derrick, Rob, and Wes? Like, I don't know.
That's fair. To play devil's advocate, we also don't know who was asked and also said no.
Oh, that's totally fair. We don't know what the availability is like. We don't
happen.
know. Yeah. I just feel like there's enough players from each of these games that you could have found another.
I do agree with
demographic.
that. I do understand Wes. I understand a little bit more than Derrick because Wes has been just so big in the challenge. Like as huge as Derrick is to Big Brother, Wes has played so many more times, and he's so much more iconic to that universe. And he's somebody who has said he's not coming back to the challenge because it films for too long. So this is one of the only things that he can do because it's filmed shorter. So just leave that there. But yes, there should be diversity, of course. Yes, I just want to say, Wes seems like a little bit more of a get because there's not any other shows that's going to be able to get him too.
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. But I feel like,
but Derrick, we don't need Derrick. We could have had anybody.
Right.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people being like, you gave us such a good season. You picked 3 amazing traitors and then gave us the 3 most insufferable men that we've seen on reality TV.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah. And Wes is insufferable, but I also enjoy him for that reason. So I also sort of like him at the same time. So
see that, that's
I'm defending his casting because where else can I get Wes?
Wes, I'll
take it.
Totally agree. Wes, I was excited about from the beginning. Even Boston Rob,
I don't need to see Derrick though. I'm excited because I know he's a gamer, but I don't really.
Right. I just feel like
otherwise.
I just feel like there are so many other players that you could have picked from Big Brother that are like big players that would have been exciting, and like Derrick just doesn't do it for me. Wes and Boston Rob, I'm happy to see them in the game. Derrick, I honestly don't care about at all.
Have you guys by chance been dialed into the Traitors social media beef today?
Not at all. No,
because
zero.
Derrick is getting shredded a little bit.
Good.
So we all know Mike Bloom. We all love Mike Bloom.
We do.
Mike Bloom is a silly, goofy little guy. He posts his silly, goofy little jokes. And earlier, I don't know if it was yesterday or earlier today, I saw everything this morning. But Mike Bloom had tweeted, Bob the Drag Queen has gone toe-to-toe with the likes of Derrick Barry and Plain Jane. And now he faces his next big rival, ... Zac Efron's brother. Which is like very silly, objectively just a very funny tweet. Derrick quote tweets it and goes, his name is Dylan. He's actually a good person and actually playing a really good game so far. So let's at least respect him enough to call him by his name when you're fishing for likes. And I think he kind of anticipated that like the Big Brother community would kind of rally behind him, but I think he severely underestimated how much the Big Brother community really, really likes Mike Bloom. So, Derrick is not really like, it's become a meme of people just like posting pictures of like somebody else and being like, her name is blah blah blah, and she's actually playing it. Like it's become this huge thing.
I
on,
love
like,
it.
Blue Sky all day because everyone's like, leave it to.
I'm so happy to hear that.
But everyone's like, leave it to Derrick Levasseur to like run his mouth about something he literally doesn't know about and try to like come for one of the most widely regarded.
Get in the mix, and this is what happened.
Then it also looks like earlier today, Mike Bloom like quote tweeted or referenced it or whatever. It was like, safe to say I know way too much about Nicholas, Dylan, Harris, and Efron, and I think he's the surprise of the season so far, and posted a clip to like, I guess, a YouTube video of him talking about the season, to which Derrick quote tweeted that and goes, there you go, post those links, get those clicks, I can at least respect the hustle. And it's like, bruh, just stop. just let it go.
Let it go.
Like, Mike Bloom is literally one of the most widely loved reality TV personalities. Like, this was not the one.
You can't take him down.
And people already don't like Derrick.
Right.
Honestly,
just compounding the issue.
Derrick's the kind of person that should have just chilled
away.
Yeah, like, you won Big Brother. You've got a good podcast that's successful. Just shut up now. Like, just do your thing and stay away. Like this is not whatever. Bad people being exposed is a good thing.
On that note, where do we go from here? What do you think about the dynamic between now Boston Rob and the rest of the Traitors?
I haven't seen enough to have a firm opinion.
Yeah. Well, I guess the biggest thing for me, I guess, right now, right, would be if we want to talk about this really is like, so the Traitors were just now given an option in this last episode where, well, not given the option, they were told you have to come up with a short list, right? Bob the Drag Queen was like full on board. We got to put Carolyn on there. We got to put a traitor on there to kind of throw people off the scent. And Boston Rob was like, no, we don't put a traitor on there because people are going to assume that we're going to put a traitor on there. So then they're going to try to guess who the traitor is. So it's like, it's interesting to see them sort of butting heads, but I sided with Boston Rob there for sure. I was like, they're going to assume that we're going to name a traitor. So let's name 3 people that are not traitors. And then we can have the rest of the house guessing who's the traitor. And none of them are.
Right.
And it's like, Bob, why put anybody's name out there that's a traitor when you don't have to?
Right.
It also like kind of rubbed me wrong because he said Carolyn's name because she was the only one not in the room. And it's like, if I'm Carolyn and I now come in and find out that you're like, nah, Carolyn's got to get in there, I'm like, hold on.
Yeah. Oh, there's been a few moments where I've been like very pissed off on behalf of Carolyn. One of them was that moment when Bob was like, oh yeah, we're going to put Carolyn in and she doesn't have a say. We're just going to do it. And it's like, whoa, well, wait a minute. What do you mean she doesn't have a say?
Of course she has a say.
Yeah, of course she has a say. And she's one of the original traitors. So she has less of a say than Boston Rob? Like, what?
Yeah.
And then, like, the other part of that, hold on. Wait, where did it go?
Not you like trying to find the thought.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you looking at? Like, there's a spider in this room?
No, wait, hold on, help me.
I don't know how.
I know you hadn't started yet.
You were pissed off on behalf of Carolyn.
Oh, that's right. Okay, thank you. That's all I needed. Thank you.
Yeah,
So I was pissed off on behalf of Carolyn because Bob, the drag queen, is throwing her name out when she's not even present, just because she happened to be the last person there, and as an original traitor, right? When Boston Rob wasn't, like that pissed me off, and then also just like the way that people were talking down about Carolyn. Like we've all said, right? Like people know who Carolyn, like they know who she is.
Mm-hmm.
They know what she's like. And I just really like, as somebody who, relates to Carolyn and like some of the things that she's gone through mentally, it really kind of bothers me to hear people in this cast talk about her like as if she's crazy. And she's just like confused and like I don't know. I there were times throughout these episodes where like I got a little annoyed that people were being so insensitive to like just who Carolyn is as a person. Maybe I'm just being
they may not,
and
they may not know her. They may not know her. Just like we don't know these housewives. Like they may not know her. Like we know her a little bit differently, in that regard. Like these people probably don't follow her or anything like that. Just to give them a little credit, but it does make me cringe extra though when they say it, because it's like because we do know, so it does really really feel icky.
Right. Well, that's what kills me too, is that I feel like, I don't know if it was Carolyn herself or someone else, but in a confessional, like somebody said like, oh, like yeah, Carolyn was talking to someone, and they're like, oh, I saw your season and this and that, and like so like there are people that know Carolyn and know what she's like. And like, so it just bothers me to hear people talk about her in like a negative way like that. It's like, you're all reality TV celebrities that have your issues. All right. Like she's a little weird. Who cares? Like,
which like she doesn't not play into it as a strategy. So like maybe it just doesn't bother her as much, but it still is kind of icky.
Yeah.
I'll fight to the death for Carolyn. So
I'd really like to talk about something else around this show. It could be another hot take. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be. I think people are going to be down for it. I increasingly have a problem with breakfast. Breakfast is a major flaw in this show, and they're making it so. Yeah, because they, in other seasons, maybe it was Australia, I don't know. They did a better job of mixing up. Ever since they started with this, all right, so who is it down to? This 2 or this 3? Yeah. It's always like the last few that are that. And like, just like, remember when Chada from Big Brother 23 had said, you have to pay attention to who's going into the diary room when, you have
the
to
order
pay
of how
attention
people are sitting. Yeah.
Yes, because that means something in terms of the vote to the viewer, because they're doing a TV show. The same is true in the Traitors here. And if you're tuned in enough, you could definitely see at least who the Traitors were narrowing it down to.
Yep.
Which is a major flaw. Like if you're showing that to us, you can't leave breakfast that way. You're going to have to mix them up and just let it go, that you're not going to have this big suspenseful reveal.
Yeah, every single time. Yeah.
Yeah, it can't be like that each time. And I feel like previous seasons, and again, it could be the Australian version that maybe did a better job mixing this up, because like this, it's so blaringly obvious
US
to me.
Seasons have always been like this.
Yeah.
I've noticed this in past seasons.
Well, obvious this year.
I was going to say, so in Australia, I feel like I remember, don't they just like kind of walk down the stairs into the room? Like there's no knocking. Like I feel like in the US version, we get a lot more of like the people that are already,
they just go in.
Right. Like they just walk in and it's all random. But like in the US, right? I remember specifically in this last episode too, right? There was a bunch of people sitting around the breakfast table and there was a knock at the door and somebody was like, oh, that's a girl's knock. And it was like, I feel like people should just be showing up at random without like any real big announcement or like, oh, it's a girl knock or a guy knock. It's like, no, it's just like we're sitting at breakfast and oh, this person just walked in. Like that's what I would prefer, is that it's just you just randomly walk in and it's like, oh, I didn't even see you come in because I was having this conversation. It's like it kind of it does. I agree. It does annoy me a little bit that everybody could be sitting there being like, oh, there's 3 people left that we're waiting for. 2 of them are guys and 1 of them is a girl. And the knock comes. Oh, that sounds like a girl's knock. It's like, I don't.
But I've noticed that every season of US that like those last 2 or 3 people is always the person that like they were talking about in the turret, because they don't want you to know who got murdered until the moment they reveal it. And you always see, okay, so who's not here? It's this person, and this person. And those happen to be the 3 names that were thrown out that they might go after.
And I guess I just didn't pick it up so much last season.
Oh no, it was
but now that you're
bad
in,
last season too.
Yeah, now that you're in season 3, like even if you got away with it in 2, you're done now.
They've
you
watched
gotta
it,
switch that up. Yes, because people are watching it to understand what they're getting themselves into. And like if I can pick that up as a viewer, there's got to be people like Wes that are
people who are built for reality TV and who made their
people that have
doing
done this right. Like they can pick up on those things. So I don't know. I think I just want to just throw that out there. Breakfast sucks.
And I think if you do it as more of like an open room where there's just people walking down the stairs randomly and it's not all like, oh, let's wait for the next knock and see who shows up.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like
no one's even eating. They're just waiting for people to come in.
Right. And then it's like once everybody shows up, it's like that's when everybody's like, oh, pass me the eggs, pass me this, pass me that. It's like, no, it should just be that the whole time.
You should have already been eating. Like those Australian ones, like people were like, oh, I don't like to be last to breakfast because there's no food left. That doesn't happen in these.
Right.
Because everyone's just waiting for the reveal.
Exactly. Everybody's coming in, they're talking, they're waiting for the next knock at the door. And that's the thing too. Like I wish sometimes, like, do you realize like right, every single time, even the first people into the room will knock. And then they'll open the door and be like, oh, we're the first ones here.
Yeah.
It's like, why is it like that? It seems to be a requirement that you have to go to the breakfast door and knock and then open. And it's like, no. Take that damn door off the hinges. Like, just let people start walking in randomly. Like, yeah.
And the real kicker in all this is that it's the Australian version of the Traitors that is not confirmed to come back.
Bummer. I've still only watched the US ones.
Oh my gosh, the Australian ones are insane.
I know. That first Australian season especially is my favorite.
I want to say the final tribal, whatever you call it. Like, that final episode, I'm telling you, so good. Such the 2 Australian versions, I'm telling you, they both had fantastic endings. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I've meant to go watch the international ones. I just we watch so much reality TV. I never have freaking time.
No, I know. But the UK one is also really worth watching. Claudia is a fantastic host. She's so dramatic in certain places. Like she's not Alan, but she's funny in her own ways. Claudia is fantastic. It's only the Canadian version that I can't get behind.
Really?
Yeah, I watched like half of the first one. I was like, oh, yeah, just didn't connect with it. Could have also been like the abundance of commercials on CTV. It's like it is way offensive, and it's bad. They're like 7 minutes of like commercials.
Get it together, Canada.
Yeah, it's really bad, but we digress.
I'm trying to think, is there anything else of note that we have to talk about? I don't like Tony. I'm glad Tony's gone. I find him very grating and very annoying. So I was like, fine, vote him out.
Oh, wow. I actually felt a little bad for Tony.
Oh, I really, like, from go, I was like, I'm not going to enjoy watching this person. I had not watched his season of Survivor, so I don't know him.
But I mean, I don't think he didn't do anything
I just found him very annoying.
Right? Why though? I felt like he was pretty quiet all game.
I can't like pinpoint. It's just a vibe thing. I don't know. There was something about him.
Yeah, I kind of land in the middle. Like I would have liked to see him go a little further, just because I think that because of his gamer mind, he would have made some things interesting. But I definitely was not lamenting his exit. Like I'm fine with it. Like it's fine.
He was another one of those people where it's like, It's so funny to watch the people who think they're being slick, but they're laying it on so thick. Because, like, he came in and he was like, listen, if Alan calls me into that room and says, what do you want to be? I'm going to tell him, I want to be a faithful. There is nothing in this game that's going to make me want to be a traitor. I want to play as a faithful. Don't cast me as a traitor. I want to be a faithful so bad. And it goes to the confessional. He's like, obviously, I'm going to ask to be a traitor, but I want them to think that I want to be a faithful. So
yeah, and it's like when you go that hard, it's like no one's
hard.
actually, no one actually believes that you really want that. And like, to most people, especially somebody, if you were familiar with his game, you wouldn't really believe him when he said that.
Was he forced into that though? Because I remember that whole thing, like when they all went into the mansion or the castle or whatever, right? Before traitors and faithfuls were decided, they were all moving around.
Mm-hmm.
They were, you know, talking, they were mingling, and like people were talking about, like, oh, would you rather be a faithful or a traitor? And Carolyn, who I'm standing and I've taken the, you know, the hyphenated name of, was like, Tony, shut up. Like, of course you want to be a traitor. Everybody knows you want to be a traitor. So, like, in a way, I kind of get why Tony would be like, no, I don't want to be that. I want to be a faithful.
Hard, though.
Yeah, but all right.
Oh, no, you should say it. But he definitely, he definitely pressed it a little more than he should.
I get,
Danielle has.
I get. All right, and I get that. But let's say you walk into a house and all these people are there, being like, oh God, here's Tony. Gotta watch out for Tony. And then here's somebody being like, Tony, shut up. Of course you want to be a traitor. I think if I was in that position, I'd be like, no, what are you saying? Like, I want to be a faithful. Stop it. I'd probably be over the top too, because what are you supposed to do? Everybody here is saying like, oh, we know Tony. And Carolyn's going, shut up, Tony. We know you want to be a traitor. It's like, yeah, of course I'm going to be over the top because everyone's against me already. I haven't even done anything.
I don't know, like, yeah, you got to debunk it, but it just it felt like
he was going. I still think it was over. I hear you. Yeah, I hear you, but
a little.
I don't know. I don't think Tony's gone over the top more than other people in the game. I actually felt Tony's banishment.
I also wouldn't say more, but like it was appropriate enough for his end.
I don't know. I felt like his banishment was. I was a little surprised by it, to be honest. I felt like Dylan.
That was too. I was
well, because I felt like Dylan. Well, Dylan went in there trying to throw out Bob's name, right? And then Bob's going out throwing Dylan's name, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, "Oh, fuck you, Tony!" And it's like, well, wait a minute. Like everything started here because like Dylan was throwing Bob's name out, and then people were saying Dylan was being shady, and now all of a sudden Tony is the one, even though Tony was like desperate to get the shield from Rob. Like I don't know. I don't know. This whole thing felt wild. I mean, it didn't bother me either. I just thought it was interesting.
Well, I didn't.
How it all
even give
unfolded.
it a second thought. I didn't even think it was. I'm just surprised it's getting this much conversation. I thought it was a non-event.
Yeah, I was more into the explosion that was Bob and Dylan. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm surprised that there's such strong
feelings. Name, Misguided. I was like, no, I mean, oh my God.
I'm not necessarily saying I have strong feelings, but I think it's a big move that Tony's out of the game now. And like the way that he like called out Rob saying he was a sellout on his way out. And now Rob's got to kind of like explain that. Like, I feel like Tony's a big player. He's played Survivor. He's, you know, a big deal on that show. He was somebody that people were afraid of in this game, and now he's out.
Oh, no, you don't have to validate yourself anymore. I'm just saying I'm surprised. Like, I get it. I hear you. I don't disagree. Well, in that I don't. I don't disagree. I just don't care. But I hear you. I hear you. I get it. It was just such a non-event to me. I didn't even really remember it happened. It's like, oh right, yeah, he did call him a sell. Like, because how much weight does that have when people know that he gave you a shield? He's not that much of a sellout.
Yeah,
he gave you a shield,
I feel like
and his mind changed and he voted for you. Like that almost helps him a little bit. That's how convinced he was.
But but he ended up being a faithful though. So it's like you gave him a shield, you turned on him. He's not
right, but it also means that like I gave you a shield because I trusted you, and I was swayed by what happened around me. So I don't think you're going to get negative blowback for that because like.
Well, it was funny because like I think when Tony left and he said that he like expected it to be a bigger blow to Rob, but what we saw in the aftermath was everybody being like, "The fuck was that about?" Like no one was really on board with it.
That's what I mean, because like no one would see it that way because it looked like he was trying to play with him, and then like you could almost spin that to say like I felt duped. I heard what everybody here said, and I understand where everybody's coming from. Wow, I can't believe I gave this guy a shield. Let's get him out of here. Like,
but he was but he was faithful.
Right, you may have been wrong, but you were wrong with everybody else who voted for him too. So, like, you can't say I was more wrong than y'all.
Yeah, I guess
I did what you did.
I just feel like it's just weird to me because it's like there were other people's names that it felt like those names were out there more as being suspicious. You know what I mean? And it's like all of a sudden Tony became not that people weren't already suspicious of him and worried about him, but it's like all these other names are getting thrown out. Right, and then all of a sudden, everybody just votes for Tony, and he's a faithful. Like whoever was saying his name, I'd be suspicious. I'd be suspicious of them now if he.
Yeah, I could agree with that, depending on how you try to like agree with it. I also just wonder if that's like the nature of the game, because you're speaking so publicly. The vote is public. You're saying this, and I'm saying this. We're both really not agreeing, but you know what? I guess we both can agree it's this one. So like these are nobody's first choice, but we knew we didn't have the votes to get done with what we wanted. So we went with the next best thing that we could agree on. That's how I saw the conversation. So we just stepped down. All right, fine. We all agree on this, whatever, we'll just do this. Because I'm done with the conversation. Or Alan stopped it.
I'm also very curious what you guys think about like Bob the drag queen's vote. Right? Like
that came out of freaking nowhere.
Voting for Ivor, right? Ivor, Lord Ivor Mountbatten or whatever his name is.
Yeah, I think it's an overplay. I think he thinks he's being strategic. I think he thought there were enough votes for it to go to one person. So I'm planting a seed on this one so I can start a new conversation and start some chaos.
Because even Dylan looked at him like, dude, the fuck? Like, why are you doing that?
And I think that's the problem with it. Like, I think I can understand the strategy behind it. I don't know that Ivor was the right way to go. Go with somebody else that was another part of that conversation then.
Yeah, like, oh, well, I guess you couldn't really go for her because she was kind of backing you up.
Toss some flame just anywhere else other than somebody that never came up in the conversation. Like... And so like, I don't know. This one said this and I just couldn't shake it in the moment. I panicked. I don't know. But like to say Ivor that no one had mentioned, at least that we saw, like that was what the hell, what is that?
He tried to back it. He tried to back it up by being like, I didn't have enough time in the deliberation to talk about why I felt this way. But it's like, well, you spoke most of the round table, so I don't know what
talked a lot.
You can't say that. Right. You just chose the wrong person with your random deflection.
Right. Like the Ivor vote made sense last time, right? After Dorinda was gone because of their little tussle. But like, what? You're still thinking about Ivor now? Like, really?
Right. Too late. Especially because no one was still talking about him. Like that was long gone.
It's like you didn't say his name once during all these deliberations, and now it's like, listen, I didn't get to air this out before. It's like, what do you mean? We aired everything out.
You were literally the one doing most of the talking.
Yeah, that was weird.
Lordy Lou.
Lordy Lou. I feel like the only other thing that I can think of anyway is like at the tail end of the third episode, we see them going into the little like wine cellar thing to like cast this vote of like who they think should be in the coffins or whatever. And I don't know if it was like camera trickery, if they're trying to create a moment or if there was a moment, but it looks like Gabby caught them. Like it looks like she was kind of walking in as they were walking out. Like,
yes, it did appear that way.
I think that was just editing. I don't think
I can't decide.
Yeah, I don't think
I can't decide either.
Because I actually did watch it a couple of times. I don't think the timing of it, because they made it look like Derrick was walking in, then they made it look like the Traitors were about to walk out. Then they made it look like Gabby was about to walk in, and then the Traitors did leave, and nobody was there. So
the thing that was different about the Gabby moment, though, is that instead of looking like it was cuts, it looked like it was a pan from, like, you see her in the mirror kind of like looking over and being like, what's going on over there? And then it panned to them coming out of the room. And then it panned back to her, like, walking back in as if she was, like, just happened to be walking through. So I can't tell if it was, like, well done editing or if she clocked it. I don't know.
I agree with both of you. There was a moment that I felt like it was editing, and then there was something at the very tail end of the entire sequence that I said, now wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. But I can't be as specific to say like how anything panned, but there was a moment that I said, oh shoot, that actually felt kind of real.
Yeah, no, it was definitely edited. The next on was clearly edited. Well, the end of the episode and the next on were clearly edited in a way to make us feel like anything could happen here, because it might have been Gabby that found them, or maybe Derrick was the one, because Derrick was walking in there too into the bar, being like,
but that
something's
looked more
going
like,
on here.
That to me looked more like editing. Something about the Gabby moment didn't feel as manufactured.
Yeah, but that's what I mean, is that all of this is being edited.
Yeah.
So like, the parts we think might be edited probably weren't. The parts that were edited, maybe that we think might have been edited, maybe weren't. Like, it's just I'm excited, and that's why this show is so good.
Why are you giggling down there?
I'm just laughing. Just having a nice night.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that was all I really needed to bring up. Did I leave anything out? Anything you guys want to talk about?
I don't think so.
No, I feel pretty satisfied. You know, I want to see more Britney. I just want to see lots more Britney confessionals. I want people to fall in love with her. I'm hoping that the reason why we're not getting as much in the beginning is because we're going to get a lot more later.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people that we really haven't heard almost anything from. Like, very rarely we see them. So I'm interested to see what comes of that.
I still don't even know what Sam Asghari sounds like. I still don't know. I think he spoke once. Like, I'm just so interested to hear this guy think and like do something. And we saw nothing.
Yeah, I like forgot he was on the season.
Right?
I think Sam and Tom are my sister Mary's least favorite people, I think.
That tracks.
Yeah, that's
because
Tom is disgusting.
Tom
really makes me sick.
Yeah, he makes me like.
I've never seen his shows, but it was one of those things where like I learned everything that I know about Tom against my will, because TikTok was just like, you want to see this, and like I just learned like the whole like Sandoval thing or whatever. I literally don't know anything about it. I just was served so much content to be like, this man is bad, and I was like, okay.
I just know he cheated on Ariana. That's all I know. But I didn't even like him when I was watching Vanderpump Rules in only the very early seasons. I didn't even like him then.
Tom makes me very uncomfortable.
Yeah, he has a darkness to him that's very unsettling.
Yeah, he's strange. And honestly, I just feel like, Britney Spears has been through a lot, and anybody that was in her life that's no longer a part of it, I feel like was probably cut out for a good reason. And so I don't like Sam either.
Yeah.
Because I love Britney.
As a Britney Spears fan too, though, because in the beginning he was very, very defensive of her, would publicly speak on her behalf, and we really rallied behind him. We really liked him. And then when the divorce came out, then he started to get very nasty, saying like, oh, she better give me this money or else I'm going to reveal this other stuff or release his videos. I'm like, oh, you're actually a very nasty man. And now it's like, so it's very upsetting. The whole thing is upsetting. Because we really had an up and down with him.
Yeah. I remember him being one of your fan selections for Celebrity Big Brother.
Yeah. Back in the day, back when we thought he was nice. There was even, I
Yeah.
mean, you can track back on my IG. He was probably an MCM at some point. Yeah. No mas.
No mas.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fun cast though.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think that's everyone, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so, right? We've talked about pretty much everybody and everything that's going on.
Yeah, and the ones that we haven't are either ones that were out too soon before we really got to know them, or people who we haven't seen enough of yet. So
yeah, so I've crossed out 4 names: Dorinda, Wells, Ian, and Tony. We've got Boston Rob still in there as a traitor, Chriselle, Britney, Danielle as a traitor, Bob as a traitor. I think I'm curious to see, somebody's going to end up as a traitor later on in the game. You know what I mean? Because at some point a traitor is going to be eliminated, so there'll probably be someone else picked. Do you guys have a preference on who you'd want to be picked as a traitor later in the season?
I mean, just for the entertainment of it, only if it works for her game. I think Britney as a traitor would
I knew obviously Kyle was going to say Britney.
Yeah, because I just think I can just see her being like, "Don't fucking talk to me like that. I'll kill you." Like I just think she'd just be really, really funny for moments like that. She's like, "I will literally murder you." Like I can,
Oh,
I just think she'd be so much fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than her, I mean, I think that one other housewife, is it Robin?
Robin,
she could be interesting. I like her.
She's fun.
And
I like her.
Yeah, and she seems to be dialed into the game also, so she could be interesting. But other than them, there's really nobody else that really stands out to me that I'd be jazzed about. Maybe if you had to pick one more, maybe Gabby, because she seems kind of dialed in too.
Because I'm gonna say, even like, when I think about the big players, obviously we started this whole stream talking about Dylan, but I don't want to see him as a traitor. I want to see him deducing traitors.
Yeah, he seems like
he
seems like the type that has to stay a faithful. I mean, the whole time.
And I think he'd be fine with that too. I don't even think that he would want to be a traitor at this point. Like he seems to be jazzed to be a faithful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Leave the faithful as faithfuls.
That's great though. Good cast, very fun. Can't wait for the next episode drop.
I'm so. Are we getting 3 again? Do we know?
No,
I think it's just one a week from here on out.
UK is still doing 3 a week: Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But US is 1 a week, which I like.
I do Thursday like that as well.
I like it too. It kind of messes up our schedule. Like unless we start doing like Thursdays at 10, I don't know how we have to discuss how we want to handle this going forward.
Well, and of course, as always, you can find out the answer to that question and many more.
Come on, segue.
On our socials. We are everywhere at Strat Chat Pod. But potentially Blue Sky. Are we back on Blue Sky yet? Or are we working on
we're there, but we're not really like posting or anything. But I will say that ever since Big Brother ended, like there hasn't been anything that was post worthy, in my opinion. Like I was missing a lot of Survivor, and I don't care about the challenge anymore. So like, maybe we're really going to start reactivating things. Yeah,
we're in the
there. You can still follow us. An account does exist
at Strat Chat Pod. But yeah, other than that, do we have anything else coming up, or are we just kind of on the challenge? The challenge, my God, I'm so used to saying the challenge that it just came out.
A new season of the Challenge All Stars Rivals.
I don't want it,
start
John.
in 2 weeks.
Right. We have to still decide if we're doing that. We were thinking about what we're doing on Thursday, but you have another commitment Thursday at 10, so it wouldn't be this week anyway, right? You have one more commitment.
I do have to do one more podcast regarding Star Wars Skeleton Crew.
So it won't be this week. So the soonest would be then January 20. But That's the reason to follow us on the socials to confirm.
Of course.
All right, we're leaving. All right,
Yeah.
it's time to go.